This episode of It's Great to Meet You features Melissa O'Neill, CEO of Central Iowa Shelter and Services. Tune into this conversation to hear the great work they are doing in the city to help people find housing and a flourishing life. It's Great to Meet You is a production of the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. At First Unitarian, we love radically, grow ethically and spiritually, and serve justly. Unitarian Universalism is a pluralistic religious tradition, meaning we don't have a dogmatic statement of belief. Rather, we covenant with one another to put love at the center of our actions. We recognize the inherent worth and dignity of everyone and our interconnectedness with one another. And so our justice work seeks to affirm that worth for all people. If you think all people should be able to flourish and you believe your spiritual journey is less about dogma and more about how you treat one another in the world, you might be a UU. Let's get to the show. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me on It's Great to Meet You, the show where we meet the good people of Des Moines out there doing the good work. I'm your host, the Reverend Steve Seek, and I serve as the minister at First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. Today we're talking with Melissa O'Neill, the CEO of Central Iowa Shelter and Services. Melissa, it's great to meet you.
Thank you for having me, Steve. Appreciate the opportunity.
Can you tell us a little bit about your work with Central Iowa Shelter and Services?
Yeah, Central Iowa Shelter and Service, we're the largest emergency homeless shelter in the state of Iowa. We have 150 emergency shelter beds, and with the new agreement now with the city and the county, we'll actually have the opportunity to balloon our emergency response system up to 275, both beds, cots, and chairs. As the winter starts to come upon us here in Iowa, we know it gets brutally cold out. And it's important for us to make sure our emergency response system and shelter is available and ready for anyone who's unhoused. So excited to have that opportunity to have the resources that we need to step up and serve in a capacity that allows us to fulfill our mission. With the emergency shelter, obviously the core to what we do, we also have 81 apartments on site. And oftentimes people don't recognize that our second and third floor is actually affordable housing for individuals who may have had previous challenges with other service providers or other landlords where they just cannot find another place to call home and to rest their head. That's a place that is truly their own. In those apartments, we also serve 19 of those units being for veterans. Veterans homelessness across the United States is continuing to decline, which is amazing. But we are still seeing 100% occupancy in those units year over year. And so we have a case management team solely focused on our VA, as well as with those apartments, really helping people regain self-sufficiency in a variety of ways. I like to tell people who come on tours down here all the time, think about us like an all-inclusive resort or like a Carnival cruise line. Pretty much you name it, we offer it in some capacity. Obviously, our clothing closet, food pantry system, and we'll come back to the food side in a bit. We have a full community kitchen program for people staying here in our facility, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For those that are unhoused, generally lunch only. Oftentimes, because of our local church, is the one that usually steps up to serve those evening meals. And that is one of the things we heard, that our local churches were struggling to serve the number of people overnight that we were serving. And so it's finding a way to find a balance there, if that makes sense. And then we have a pretty robust job training program. So in our mission, we talk a lot about giving somebody a fish, teaching somebody how to fish. And then our hope is that we've built their personal agency so that they can go fishing on their own and maybe, reach back and help that next person up in line in the process. So it was very fulfilling. This team down here is absolutely amazing. I don't know how they do it every single day, but I'm just so gracious that I get to ride their coattails from time to time because they really are remarkable human beings, just serving human beings.
Wow, that is an extraordinary amount of work. And this is all in one facility?
This is all in our Des Moines location. Yeah, we also have created hubs, kind of like a spoken wheel model. Mm-hmm. We launched our Empowerment Command Center out in Grinnell, Iowa in the spring of 2025. That facility is focusing, obviously, homeless prevention, diversion, and really working to redefine what community looks like through a scattered site housing model. doing a lot with permanent supportive housing and serving 30% of average medium income and less in our rural communities. They also wanted their community site to focus more on, again, job training. Grinnell as a community wants to be known as a farm to table community. And so we took that as an opportunity to training and development programs for people that are unemployed or underemployed to help them, again, regain that self-sufficiency out in rural. We did actually temporarily open a location in Ottumwa, Iowa in October of 2025. That will then have its permanent location finished up in 2026. And that project will be exactly like CISS minus the emergency shelter, but a much, much larger facility that is, again, designed to be that one-stop shop for people marginalized in the Wapello County area. So those two projects are fully up and running. And then by the grace of God, we'll have Centerville, possibly a couple of other sites. We've got them identified, but maybe too early to share where those are at this point in time. But we're really just trying to replicate ourselves across the region so that we can help serve people in their hometown where they're at and reduce the burden and the amount of people coming here to Des Moines for our shelter.
Right. So you're saying that people come from other communities to Des Moines because it has the resources.
Yeah, so our zip code data shows around 54% of the individuals serving an emergency shelter are Des Moines residents. When we look at the broader picture, 78% being from the state of Iowa. And so we talk about this all the time, this balance of, there are people here in Des Moines that are struggling, that are unhoused, and we want to serve them where they're at because they're coming here for something, whether it be housing, healthcare, workforce, meet people where they are and help to work and solve that problem. But we also recognize that the data does show that a lot of times their last known address was actually outside of the city limits of Des Moines. And so how do we do a better job of serving people in their hometowns again without having to come here?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that as well. I shared with you before we started recording that I'd worked in a homeless shelter, and that we saw a lot of folks that were not from the area, but were not able to find the resources they needed where they were from.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the Empowerment Command Center framework comes from, is how do we create and open the door in these communities to receive that same help and support where they don't then have to become homeless in order to come and get healthcare needs met in Iowa or in Des Moines. So I mentioned earlier that number of 78% coming from, the state of Iowa. Well, that means 22% of our clients right now are transient across the United States. And some people, it is a lifestyle, but it really is people seeking opportunities to get that one next step up. And I think Iowa and Des Moines in particular has a terrific number of opportunities for people. And is how do we, help people find that forever home? So it is something we watch on a regular basis. Where do people come from? Where are people going? And how do we meet them where they're at?
As I'm making sure I understand all this, there's 150 beds that are ready on any given evening. There's 275 possible during the winter months. And then there's also these 81 apartments that are offering a space between the shelter and market rate. Are these within Section 8 housing guidelines?
Some of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So some of them are Section 8. Some of them are project-based vouchers. Some people do pay full rent here in our apartments. They just can't find a place to live elsewhere.
Right.
And then obviously the VA takes care of their own units. But we look at every morning in our Empowerment Command Centers, the team goes through a by name list of every single person we're serving, whether they're unhoused in our shelter or in one of our units. And they're consistently making sure that they have the appropriate case management. We focus more on strength-based case management styles and really an approach that allows the person to pick the path they want to take. We ask them, what level of support do they want from us? Some people want a lot of our help and some people don't want any of our help. And so we're trying to walk with people where they're at and try not to make any assumptions about the future that they choose for themselves.
Is there a wait list for beds for folks in the community seeking?
No, we've had beds available all summer. So even after this spring, I think it was June that we had made the decision we were going to cap at the 150. Obviously, that made a few people upset and concerned regarding shelter bed capacity, but we've honestly had room at the end all summer long. Even yesterday, we were at 131 souls in the building. So we have room, both top and bottom bunks in the building. And then we'll have the additional cots now available and the additional chairs available as the weather turns.
That is some good news then. I'm used to shelters having a month-long wait, right?
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about this relationship with the city and the county is we really don't want to turn anybody away.
Yeah.
CISS was founded when churches came together, they united for a cause. 5 people had perished on the streets of Des Moines. So this was a heartbreaking decision that our team was making, and the board, we weighed this very heavily. And we're grateful now that the city and the county have stepped up in a way that hopefully we can make sure there's always room at the end.
Is the shelter open during the day, or do folks have to leave at some point during the day? Or
No, they're open. It's
oh,
open
okay,
all the
yeah.
time. Yeah. So normal business hours for day services, 8:30 to 4:30.
Hmm.
We provide a lot of programming during that time and obviously want to encourage people to stay the night. One of the things that is a clarifying moment that we've been trying to have with some of our local business leaders is it's that normal business hours. So, Steve, if you know what they are, you know the rules, you know the system, we're going to ask you to stay and check in for the bed. But if somebody new comes to our community, maybe they come in on DART or on the bus line, Greyhound, and they don't know our rules and they knock on our door at 2 o'clock in the morning, we're going to let them in because they don't
Yeah.
know anything, right? And then we're going to try and help them navigate that system the next day. We just don't want that to be a revolving door all day long, all night long, because we do have to have the ability for people to go to bed,
Yes.
right? And if
Yes.
we constantly are letting people in and out of the building, it's hard for people to sleep.
How can the
Yeah.
Des Moines
Yeah.
community help you in your work?
I think right now, especially with the government shutdown, there's so much uncertainty about what the future of that funding is going to look like, both for people, obviously, with the biggest dilemma right now on food insecurity. But we're actually experiencing the same dilemma now on our permanent supportive housing projects, really across the state of Iowa. With the government shutdown, nonprofits aren't getting reimbursed for the work that we're doing, yet we're still expected to go and pay rent whenever we can.
Mm.
And as the longer this starts to go, the more that starts to pile up. Many nonprofits like CISS don't always have the cash on hand to be able to make sure we're making payroll and providing those critical services, those life support systems, but also continuing to pay the rent for people that have permanent supportive housing needs. So it's a juggling act that I think the community needs to be aware of. There are people hurting all across the metro, and as nonprofits who oftentimes help try to fill that gap, we're not getting reimbursed right now either. So that is it's kind of a mission critical moment for a lot of us and something that I think our community needs to be more aware of. Now is obviously that time of giving. And so I've encouraged my family, I've encouraged my friends to, we all have enough stuff in our lives, to consider a contribution to a nonprofit in somebody else's name is a part of that gift of giving life and food and housing to somebody else in the community.
I'll be sure to put the link for giving on the podcast just so that all the listeners can find a way to dig a little deeper into the wallet and help out. Because it sounds like you have all of your bills to pay, but you're not getting
Yeah.
any of your
I don't get any on my side. Yeah.
right. You're not getting that from the government right now during the
Yeah.
shutdown. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be clear, the city and the county have been, and really the state of Iowa have been fabulous to work with. Obviously, we agree to disagree on a few topics,
Hmm.
but that's true in life, right? And so they really have been great to work with. But a lot of these funds do pass through the city and the county and the state. The only one I get a direct federal allocation is usually directly from the VA or the USDA with our farm program.
Yeah.
So just keeping those things in mind that all of us are paying attention and all of us are hurting a little bit during this season.
Are you seeing any new trends in who's coming in and what brought them to the shelter?
Great question. We saw some trends a little bit earlier last year, especially with elderly population. We started to notice, it really was around October of 23 that we started to get more elderly adults, 55 plus. And that trend is continuing. That's one big concern. We're also, again, I mentioned this earlier when we were talking, is we've started to do a lot of work with the state of Iowa on brain injuries
Hmm.
and how that affects individuals who are experiencing homelessness, but also co-occurring disorders like mental health and substance abuse. We have done around 600 of these surveys so far with the people that we're serving every day and finding about 60% of our clients have a known brain injury, some internal, some external upon entry. And this new information has really been a game changer for us and how we address and support and serve individuals on the front line, but then also how do we care for our staff, and how do we make sure that if our staff is taken care of in a way that they're then able to provide that support to our clients. So we're seeing a lot more because we're paying attention to it now. The number of individuals who's had a brain injury upon entry, and it could be from a variety of things, concussions, it could be a domestic violence or a victim of crime, it could be a trauma that they actually saw and witnessed themselves that they're struggling with. But it's too general now to say that it's just mental health or just substance abuse. We really do need to start paying more attention to the other things that have taken place in a person's life that have led to the mental health or the substance abuse.
And now we're going to do a speed round of questions just to help us to get to know you a little bit better, Melissa. What is your favorite place to eat in Des Moines?
I was going to say CISS. If you're
Okay.
not for a farm to table meal, our greenhouse in the backyard is one of my favorites. Our clients run and operate our greenhouse. It's 3,600 square foot. Uh,
Oh, wow.
we grow all of our own vegetables and fruits, and we actually grow our own shrimp as well. So, Mulberry Farm and Food, our food truck, and our greenhouse. This is not your traditional soup kitchen. Let's put it that way. The individuals who live here eat very, very well.
Wow.
So I love eating what they've cooked up.
That's fantastic. Where's your favorite place to go outdoors in the Des Moines area?
Oh, by far Gray's Lake.
Hmm.
Always love walking and going for a run around Gray's Lake and just being outside in the environment.
Where's your favorite place to go indoors in Des Moines?
Oh, the Civic Center. I love a good musical.
Okay. All right. Do you have a favorite grocery store? I'm still unsettled on where to shop.
I gotta go. I can't. I'm gonna decline. I've got way too many community partners who contribute from their
Oh,
favorite.
right, that's true. That's the political answer. Do you have an affiliation with the Cyclones, Hawkeyes, Bulldogs, or Panthers?
We are a house divided,
Okay,
but growing up Iowa Hawkeye, and my daughter now goes to Iowa State. So we just cheer on Iowa.
there you
Iowa
go.
for
All right, here's an important question from our children here. We asked them to send in a question. And the one you get today is, why is the sky blue?
because the sun is shining.
There you go. And then the staff here likes to give us a quick little challenge. This is a would you rather. Would you rather be able to speak to all animals or speak all human languages?
Speak to all animals.
Oh, say more.
So have you seen the movie Robot? The book Robot?
The wild robot?
Yeah, the wild robot.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that I'd rather do that, right? Like, so the wild robot, he obviously gets put on the planet and he has to adapt because he doesn't
Hmm.
speak the languages, but he's able to learn the language of the animals. And because he knows the tendencies of the human beings, also, right? It's how do we protect? And so here, I'll ask a challenge question back to your staff. So we do something called Feel Good Fridays.
Okay.
We ask these questions. And I'll never forget this question. So here's your challenge to your staff. What is one thing that our clients have that you want, and one thing that you want that our clients have? Did I say it right?
Or one
Yeah,
thing that I have that my clients want. Yeah.
yeah. I will say this, our clients come down and have a cup of coffee. The people that we serve that are unhoused, people that are homeless, are some of the most beautiful souls you'll ever meet. And I just wish more people would give them a chance. Come down, have a cup of coffee. Don't be afraid to make eye contact. Genuinely, they might have challenges that they're working to overcome, but they really are beautiful people first. And so I really hope more people can experience that and see that. Come serve dinner, come volunteer, come give a service block. But everybody can find a way to serve somebody just as another human being.
Melissa, is there anything you want to promote to the listeners? Any upcoming events or ways to get involved?
Yeah, coldest night of the year is right around the corner. So we celebrate with Joppa, the shortest night of the year, on December 21st at their event. But in February, I believe it's the 28th, it's a Saturday, we participate with people all across North America in what is called the coldest night of the year. We all get up, meet together, and we walk. We simply walk a 5K. And remind ourselves what it is like to be in someone else's shoes. Love to have you guys come join us for coldest night of the year. We will have our Heroes for Homeless Gala as we usually do in the springtime of every year. And I know, again, there are many listeners that you have that have participated in that event as well. And so just keeping those two events on the radar as we go into 2026. Love to have you guys come out and join us.
Thank you so much for that. So that'll be the February, the coldest night of the year, and then in the springtime, the gala.
Yeah.
Well, Melissa O'Neill, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us today and keep on doing the good work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that does it for us today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Keep doing the good work, Des Moines.